your dad made a joke and was like, everybody's gonna be watching this tomorrow, so let's make this fun and boring so he's understanding not a word we're saying.
All right, that sounds good to me. Thank you all for joining us. This is the Remington Kuhn Show. I'm here with Kenyon Sykes. This is episode number 6 of the Remington Kuhn Show. Welcome, Kenyon. What do you want to talk about today?
When I tell you there's so much to talk about, the first thing I would like to touch bases with you, because I just need your enlightenment on it, is Klay Thompson. This man played 32 minutes in the playing game and dropped a whopping 0 points. He has dropped Chris Paul rings, and I don't. And the question that he was getting mad about, that I feel like he really can't get mad, was as soon as the game was over, Eric kept asking, what is his future looking like with the Warriors? And I just want to hear your take on that.
If I read the news correctly, it sounded like Steve Kerr wants to keep him around, which that means if Steve Kerr wants to keep him around, he's probably staying around. I'm not sure how much juice Klay Thompson actually has left in the tank. As far as that goes, I don't want to like trash the guy or anything, but from what I've seen of Klay Thompson, obviously he's a shell of himself, and if the Warriors want to keep him around, that's fine. I don't know if there's going to be that much competition out there for Klay Thompson if he.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I agree with
yeah.
everything you're saying. My point of it is just you went from being one of the best shooters in the league to just the worst. And I'm not going to downplay the guy. I know he had an injury, but so did Kevin Durant, so did Embiid, and they all found a way to bypass it. It took them a couple years to go from dropping, their 30 points to their average points and back to their 30 points.
Yeah.
But with Klay Thompson, we have not seen any of it. And it's embarrassing. Like I said, Stephen Curry's had much more years. So do Draymond. The team has Kaminga. They had some young guys, but Klay Thompson was that missing piece. I feel like they needed every time. Besides Jordan Poole, they went to the playoffs or finals. He stepped up, and now this game in 0 points, 32 minutes. I don't know if I can accept that. I feel like Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry are all saying they're gonna have time for him. They want to keep playing on their team. But I feel like they're just saying it now just to ease the way into the trade, because he is an unrestricted free agent this year, I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's all around. But I just want to hear your take on it, just because it's sad, because I don't want the Warriors to go out like that. We don't know how many more times we'll see Stephen Curry go where he can go. But I'm hoping wherever Klay Thompson leads up at, he can be a spot up threat again and just show us what he's worth. You know?
And there is a market out there for role players. If you can still shoot, there is a job for you somewhere. Even if you are like Danny Green, that's what it reminds me of. Danny Green with the Sixers a couple years ago. Like, he didn't do
Right.
anything except shoot threes. So as long as you can still shoot, there's going to be a market for you. Some contending team is going to give you minutes just to try to score off the bench even. And Klay Thompson is not that type of player that wants to, be a role player off the bench, but he's at that point in his career where he doesn't have much of a choice. So wherever he goes, if he can still shoot, then he's going to have a job. If he can't, then I don't know. I think it's either Warriors or bust at that point.
Right, exactly. Because even the best example probably both can use is probably Patrick Beverly. Right, you can arguably say he's not really good at anything. He trash talks, but he plays defense. Yes, he
Yeah.
gets traded, but everywhere he gets traded to, he plays his heart out. Right, so you're 100% right. Where you're always gonna have a place for a shooter. Any team could take him. I can think of a million teams that probably can use him. But it's all about he's gonna come with that charisma. He's gonna come back with that 2016 to 2019 Warriors guy, that Klay Thompson that's going to get you a bucket any way it goes and not accept what just happened, So it'll be a lot to see coming up this next offseason, but I'm excited for it, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm
and
excited.
even then, like, it's a dynasty that we will always be able to appreciate. What the Warriors did, their continued sustainable success that they had, is never going to be forgotten. There have not been that many teams that succeeded for that long with the same core of players and just like dominated like over a few years. They were an unbeatable team. So I will
Correct.
always respect what the Warriors could do. Klay Thompson will always have a pretty big hand in that. And no matter what happens, I wish him the best. And I hope the Warriors, like you said, if he isn't there, then it's not going to be the same. But it already kind of isn't the same. Like, we've seen the Warriors go out in a play-in game, which is something that I never thought I would see, because I even predicted them to beat the Kings, and then I actually predicted the Lakers to lose as well, so that they could play each other in the play-in game. I thought that would be a really good matchup, LeBron versus Steph, in like kind of an elimination showdown. Obviously, we didn't get the wish there, because I thought that would have been unbelievable, but the Lakers move on. The Kings, I'm not sure. Do you have any expectations for Sacramento? I mean, at one point I thought they were really good this year.
Hot take, I feel like the Kings have not gotten better. They haven't gotten worse. They have been playing the same. Yeah. And I say that because, even in that Warriors game, it was good to see De'Aaron Fox. Keegan Murray. We heard about him early this season. Sabonis, he's been having a career nice stature game for him. I'm loving his character. I'm loving what he's bringing to the Kings. It is that I don't know if they have all the missing puzzles. I don't know if they have all the missing pieces. Yes, they're a young guy, but it's a reason why Stephen Curry, the Warriors in 2022 was able to come back and light the beam in their house after being down 3-1 is because they have something the Kings doesn't have. They have that mentality of, okay, this is the playoff time. We know what to expect. You're talking about a team, the what was his name? I'm sorry, De'Aaron Fox, the guard on their team. The last time the Kings made the playoffs was 20 years ago. That man is 20 years. So, so it's like I feel like the Kings are not bad, but they have a lot of pressure on their hands. 20 years later, after never making the playoffs, you make the playoffs with this young, nice team, and you just lose 3-1 after being up, after you lit the beam. It's a lot going for it. I don't see the Kings really going past anyone else. I don't see them doing it. Maybe if the Heat advances, but I don't even see that. It's just a lot that can go about. I'm more excited to see the Thunder. The Thunder is a team that has everything. They have all the missing pieces. They have young guys that actually talented guys that just want to go out there and just play. I'm excited to see SGA. He has been averaging 30 points. Michael Jordan numbers in the early years. 30 points a game. He gets his assists when he needs to. He does everything. Chet,
he is unreal. Yeah.
A young guy. He can give you a double-double. He can give you 25 points and it's like 6 assists. Their team is their core around their young team. I love it. I feel like if they all come out there on a good given night, no one can beat them. I feel like they have every missing. They have everything to go to the ring. Go get a ring.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I'm a big Giddey fan too. I really like Josh Giddey. But anyways, I'm gonna throw you a changeup right now. I'm gonna throw you a big time changeup. Because we're talking about these teams that we're playing in the play-in games. I have my take on the play-in games. I wanted to see what you thought, because obviously they added it back in the COVID year, and they had a good reason for it. But since then, the COVID thing made sense, but it doesn't make as much sense to me anymore why they do the play-in game. Because I feel like, personally, the 8 best teams should represent the conference. Why are these 9 and 10 seeds getting an opportunity to take out those other seeds? Now, I understand this year, at least in the West, the teams have very similar records, so it makes a little bit of sense. But in the Eastern Conference, we have to watch a game like the one I just watched last night between the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls, where neither team knew what they were doing on defense, and they're scoring, 133 points last night? It was insane. 131 points the Bulls scored. The Hawks are not a playoff team, not even worth watching, and they're playing on national TV in a playoff game in the play-in tournament to try to have a chance to play against either Miami or Philly, whoever would have lost that game. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So what is your take on the entire play-in tournament as a whole?
This is a great question, by the way. I love how you throw it at me. So the way I feel about the play-in game is like you said, this year makes way more sense, right? A lot of teams' record was very close, so it's like, why let this team do it? Just because they won 2 games in their earliest season when everybody was healthy, right? We took away Embiid, right? That's like Embiid went from the top 10 seed to the top 5th seed to the top 8th or 9th. He was injured for 3 months. Why is it fair that he get to sit out knowing that he got his team damn near to the playoffs if he wasn't injured? So the play-in games, I'm not against them. But I do see your problem with it because, the Atlanta Hawks and Bull game was not a pretty game. But on that note, though, I can't blame the Hawks for like they not know what they're doing. I got to blame Trae Young because he did not bring what he should have brought. DeJounte Murray dropped, if I'm not mistaken, 30 points.
He's nice. Yeah, DeJounte Murray had a game.
Yeah. So it's like that is the problem. And on top of that, I like giving those teams a chance. right? Because who to say next year that eighth and that seventh, eighth seed won't be the Hornets and I don't know. I'd love to see like LaMelo make it or the Memphis. The Memphis might come back and do it. You never know. But yeah, I get your point. And when you say it out loud, it does sound like BS. Because like, why are we ready to watch these teams play? No, they have never been here. They have no experience. But it's a fighting chance. On that take though, my question to you is: we're gonna go a little farther, like a couple more months back. How do you feel about the All-Star games? And I ask that is because the question I've been around those about the All-Star games was it's not competitive enough, right? The same way you see it as the play-in games, the way I see an All-Star game is okay. You're taking the best starters or the best players out of each regular season team, and you're putting on the same team as other players to mash up and go against each other to see who wins, who's better, right? Now it's like a dunk fest. Yeah. Dunk fest. No one plays defense. You got Luka, Stephen Curry, and Damian Lillard shooting half-court shots, just getting the crowd excited. But what's so fun about that? I'm here to watch. Like that's why I miss when Kobe was in the league, right? That Kobe mentality. No matter if you was my teammate or not, once you're on that court and that jump ball's in the air, we're enemies, right? Kobe Bryant always went out there to play and win, no matter if it was a good team, bad team, or a decent team. I would love just to see a nice team go against each other in the All-Star, but I want to hear your point on that.
So I will be honest and tell you that I didn't even watch it because I knew what it was going to be. So if that tells you how much I do not like it, then that's my answer is I actually hate it. I think if they're going to play a game like that where there's going to be hundreds of points scored, then they might as well just do the skills competition and be done with it, to be completely honest, because that's entertaining. The skills competition is always fun. I love watching, the 3-point contest, the dunk contest. I don't like some parts of it, but the idea is there, that it's always really been an entertainment kind of spectacle for people to go and watch the skills competition. And it's something different. It's fun, right? It doesn't always have to be a game. So if you're going to turn the All-Star game into a bona fide skills competition where they're shooting up half-court shots and it's a dunk contest, just make the skills competition 2 days and just add more competitions and more events than do a game, because you can't even call that a game as far as I'm concerned. So I would just adjust it, either make it more like a game where there's something for them to play for, like in other sports like baseball. Whoever wins the All-Star game gets home field advantage for the World Series. So if they made it so that you play for something in the All-Star game and that the players are actually trying, it would be a completely different entertainment experience, because it's all about the fans. We want to see the best players on the court at the same time, going head to head, like you said. And if the best players are out there, but they're not playing like good basketball fundamentally, then it's not a game as far as I'm concerned. So I would just change the layout and the rules, or I would just switch it to an additional component of the skills competition and just make it be one huge skills weekend where everybody's showing off what they're best at, because that would be fun too.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, it goes back and forth, but the part that made me a little frustrated was the in-season tournament they introduced this year, right? I watched teams go even more harder in that than the All-Star. I mean, the All-Star game, and it makes me think, like, what do the NBA have to do? They have to get them more incentives? Do you have to get them, like, what you said, okay, if they win the in-season tournament, they get home field advantage, and then that's if they win the All-Star game or whatever, they get $1 million bonus. I mean, something has to give, and I would love to see that competition. I mean, that rivalry, how it was sting, it just give the fans, the generation, and everything we want. Because in my opinion, hot take, I think arguably this might be the best I have seen basketball in my life. I mean, like I said, I wasn't really, old enough to watch Kobe and all the older guys, Ginobili and all of them. But in this era right now, you can't tell me we don't have a lot of all-stars. I mean, these superstars we have. I mean, this playoffs right now that we have coming up that I'm so excited for. I mean, I don't know who's gonna win it all, man. I mean, you got the Nuggets Katupi, you got the Celtics that can do it all right now and just keep going, but we will never know. And that is what I love, just the excitement. It gives me like that bubble, that COVID bubbles feeling. I remember the NBA in the bubble when there was no fans. It was just NBA players just playing basketball, just seeing who was the best to win the title, and that's what I want to see.
1,000%. And also, I might as well ask you, since we're talking about the season as a whole, not just playoffs, the in-season tournament, I actually really like that. And seeing Tyrese Halliburton evolve into an actual superstar. Like, that's what I thought I was seeing when I was watching the Pacers. Like, I could not miss one of their games. Every time I saw the Pacers were on, I made sure to tune in because that was something to watch. I mean, that dude was unbelievable in the in-season tournament. Now, I can't say I've watched a lot of Pacers basketball since then, but when I saw that they had the same record as the Sixers, I was happy that I didn't have to play them early in the playoffs, because if we would have played a team like the Pacers in the first round, to be honest with you, and not to diss the Knicks, but I would have been more scared of playing the Pacers than I am scared of playing the Knicks. I think we're going to get our way with the Knicks, and I saw betting odds initially that the Sixers were favored in the series, and I wasn't surprised because, honestly, I don't want to trash the Knicks, but I think they're a little bit overhyped. I mean, yes, they're the 2 seed, but I think the Bucks are a better team than the Knicks. I think the Cavs are a better team than the Knicks, and I would argue the Magic, the Pacers, and the Sixers all have an argument, at least, over the Knicks. I don't understand what everybody's hype is with the Knicks. I mean, I know you see on ESPN Stephen A. Smith going off on the Knicks because that's his team. I understand hyping them up, but man, the Knicks aren't that good. They have a lot of problems, and I like the addition of OG Anunoby. I think he brought a lot to them. They got a great defense now, but unless Jalen Brunson literally scores 60 points a game, which I'm not saying he can, I love Brunson, I don't know, man. I just think the Knicks are a little bit overhyped, and it's going to be tough for any team other than the Celtics to come out of the East. But just give me your opinion about the in-season tournament.
I will say I loved it. I feel like a little bit was script written just because LeBron won it, just a little bit, just a tad bit. But I did love the in-season tournament. Like you said, I love watching every single different team play. I mean, I was even watching the Pacers. I mean, this man was putting up like 2K numbers in a video game that I'm playing. Like, I'm like, how is he getting 20? What? He's getting this? And I will say, I mean, it was definitely something fun to watch. I mean, like I said, we have, 82 games in the regular season. It gets boring after a while, right? It starts with, the last week of October. We're still, the regular season just ended last week. You can see how they spaced it out. And I'm kind of glad they added something called the in-season tournament to give the fans, okay, you know what? This might be a long 82 game period of this year. Let's just give them something in the early between to let them say, you know what? Turn that game on. Who's gonna win this? Because it's a lot riding on it, and I love that. Yeah. To back away from what you were saying a little bit though. I loved your take on the Knicks. I feel like they are overhyped. Jalen Brunson got to drop 50, 60 points to actually get a getaway win. Now, the only thing I do not agree with is a little bit. I don't see how the Cavs are better than the Knicks. Granted, they do have better pieces than the Knicks. I guarantee, yes, they have. Darius Garland is a dog. He's definitely underrated. He can use 30 points, 8 assists one game. Just a casual, just a chill player, you know. But I don't know. I'm not really convinced on Donovan Mitchell. I'm just not. And I promise you, if he does not get into the playoffs the way he wants to this season, he's gone. He's gone. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry. I mean, the Cavs, just like the Celtics, right? I got the Knicks beating the Celtics. I feel like Jalen Brunson owned the Celtics. They can't. I know it's a hot take, but if you look at the Celtics record, it's beautiful, right? But then you look at their losses in those records. They lost to every team they should have beat, but beat every team, in my opinion, should either been a good game or a loss. You know, so it goes both ways. But I feel like the Celtics, they have a lot to prove this year, and if they don't prove it, they will never beat the allegations that they're not ready. I mean, how long do you need your own team for Jason Tatum, right? He had his own team since 2017, am I mistaken? 2018? Since he's been starting, I want to say around that time roughly. Okay, and in that time, you made the playoffs and you made it to the finals against the Warriors, right? You got spanked by Stephen Curry. Nothing wrong with that, right? But we should be seeing you back every season. Now, granted, Jokic is a problem in the league, but as of right now, we're talking playoffs right now. The Celtics has all the missing pieces, but it's all about if they want it. It's all about Jaylen Brown can find his left hand. Can he dribble with his left hand? Can he score a left hand layup? Right? Jason Tatum, can't really say nothing bad about him because he's doing everything. It's just their team has it. But but the Cavs, I don't got to beat the Knicks. I don't see how they will ever. They have the charisma, but in these games, I got the Knicks. I choose the Knicks over them any day.
So here's the only reason I say the Cavs. They showed me a different element whenever they went on that crazy winning streak earlier in the season. If you can win that many games in a row, that's all you need to do in the postseason. It's all about who gets hot. It's not necessarily who's the best team. It's who can be the best team over a series of 7. So I believe that with what they showed me in the regular season, the Cavaliers could potentially be a better team than the Knicks. for the simple reason that they can get hot, and when they're hot, they are unstoppable. So if they could just get hot at the right time, I like Donovan Mitchell. Like, I understand why people don't like Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell's really, really good. Like, if he's your best player, I think you're in a good spot. And I like Mobley as well. I know he was injured earlier this season, but they're not as loaded as some other teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, if you look at the names, obviously the Bucks are always going to be a problem now that they have Damian Lillard. You got Giannis, obviously. He's injured. That's why I'm worried about the Bucks, because if Giannis isn't healthy, just like with Embiid's not healthy, the Sixers are not the same team. They need a healthy Embiid to make a true run in the postseason. And that is how I feel about the Bucks as well. If Giannis is not healthy, they are not going to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. So that leaves the Boston Celtics. Because again, I can't hate on the Knicks that bad, because it's not like they're the worst team, but I just think their record is a little bit deceiving. And I do feel like all the teams I just mentioned would have a better shot, because if you look at the Western Conference, the Thunder, the Nuggets, even the Timberwolves, I wouldn't want to play Dallas either. I think all those teams, and the Suns, I mean, the West is loaded. So I would just be concerned.
Yeah, everything you're saying, I agree with 100%. If John Morant was still in the league and he said 2 years ago, talking about he's fine in the West, it's not true. He's not fine in the West anymore next year. But back to what you said, I agree 100%. Now, about the Bucks, though, the only thing I have to say about that is that I'm a little edged about that. Now, I feel like their team is a little deceiving, because we've seen what Giannis was able to do by himself on a team, let alone he got Damian Lillard. And I get that, yes, Damian Lillard came on the team at a weird time, and they're still trying to find his rhythm. But I feel like even with a healthy Giannis, it's still if, ands, or buts, will they still make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Because look what happened the year prior to that. Jimmy Butler got him out of here. Yeah. And they act like they blame the coaching staff, but really it was just Giannis missing his free throws. And he was healthy. If I'm not mistaken, he was healthy. So it's just, no matter what, I think he's starting to realize that him being aggressive in the paint is just not enough. You need the threes. You need the whole team working. Like, you can't have your brother in there just, swirling around, just putting up whatever, and then walking to the bench and then coming out every time you're ready to fight. We need actual hoopers, You can't just do that. And I feel like Damian Lillard, he's okay with playing with this team only because he's happy to be off the team with CJ McCollum and, and the Trailblazers. Like I said, he wasn't going anywhere. At least here, he has a fighting chance. He made the play. He made the playoffs. Now, what are you ready to do about that? What can you do? That's how I'm feeling about the Clippers, right? James Harden is one of my favorite shooters of all time. I mean, hate him, say he finessed the game, so be it. That Rockets run he had when he got robbed for MVP by Stephen Curry, he deserved it all. And I feel like now we're watching James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Paul George all just age by time. And I feel like after this year, we won't see them get this close again. And I feel like they can do it. I would love to see them go. I mean, I want James Harden to be those allegations that he's just a regular season player, not a playoff player. I want Paul George to actually tee up and just keep cooking like he's been. I mean, and Russell Westbrook come up the bench was the best idea. I mean, he plays that role. Like I said, he just wants to win. And the fact that you have that charisma, say, you know what, I can give any team a 20-20-20 triple-double anytime, but I'm going to sit back and let y'all work, and I'll be that filling guy for whatever you need me to do. Either to score, either play, get rebounds, or you need to just be an assist man. And I love that he takes on that role. Now, to change your gears real quick, my question to you is that I know you've been watching a lot of different commentators and podcasts and about their MVP status run right now for regular season. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen A. Smith, his top three, if I'm not mistaken, was Luka, Giannis, and I think he said SGA. But I want to ask you, in your top three running list, in your opinion, who do you think should be in there? Because I think Stephen A. Smith missing one important person that should be in that list.
Are you talking about the Joker?
The Joker's in that list, I believe. I'm talking about Luka. I feel like this league is slandering Luka a little bit just because of what he's doing. I mean, yeah, sometimes them buzzer beater shots be looking crazy, but, I mean, he's beat Russell Westbrook on the most consecutive games this season on triple-doubles. His team's record is not that bad. They got 50 wins. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, he dropped 72 points this season, if I'm not mistaken, too, right?
Yeah, he did some
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it kind of bothers me when they take him out that MVP conversation. 'Cause don't get me wrong, I do believe SGA belongs in that conversation.
Yes.
I do believe Luka belongs in that conversation. Now, when you say Giannis in that conversation, I'm a little iffy because after Embiid won, I realized that it's not just about how the player progresses, it's all about how they intertwine in their record too. You can't be dropping 50 points a game, but your record, you're the ninth seed and expect to win MVP. I think Embiid showed us that when he got number one. So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just on edge about it. Like I feel like Luka should get it, but he won't get it. I feel like SGA definitely deserves it because I mean, as a guard, putting up those numbers right now in a season where all these future all-stars and superstars in the league right now fighting for a competitive spot right now, and especially in the play-in tournament, if that, I mean, he well deserves it. But like I said, I just want to hear your take on your top three who deserves MVP or at least in the MVP running for the season.
Yeah, and that's the problem is like you ask a different person, they have a different answer. It's all based on your point of view, based on how you view the award. For me, it's who is the most valuable player to your team, which is how I think the award was originally supposed to be given out, is who is the most valuable player to your team, which it hinges a little bit on your team's success. You're not going to see if there was one good player on the worst team in the entire NBA and he just like put up video game numbers the entire season, but the team only won like 10 games. He would not win MVP. The team has to succeed because that player is that good. So I would argue that Luka Doncic should be the MVP far and wide, levels above everybody else because of what I've seen from him and what he brings for the Dallas Mavericks. Would the Dallas Mavericks be the team that they are without Luka Doncic? The answer is no. And I say the same thing with SGA, 1,000% the same thing with SGA. He would be, personally, for me, he would be number 2. So I would have Doncic first. Then I would have SGA, and I just don't think you can take Jokic out of the top 3. Like, as much as he's just won the last 2, the last year. But I would say, the year before last, I don't know why I keep, Embiid won the MVP last year, and Jokic won before that. That's what I meant to say. But Embiid wasn't healthy. If Embiid would have had a full season, it's a different conversation. But Giannis doesn't belong in the top 3. Luka deserves the award. If he doesn't get the award, I will give it to SGA or the Joker.
I love this a W take because I mean everyone else I get is all opinion based, but when you really think about the MVP, the most valuable player, that it has to go to those guys. I mean the Thunder fighting for the number 1 seed and his young guys is his one guy, SGA, and I love his aura. Like his aura is different, right? Young guy. I remember the time early in the season he played against Stephen Curry. He spanked Stephen Curry, dropped 30-something points, and then he posted those screenshots of him dropping him on his Instagram. And then he said, no one can guard me. You know, that is what I like to see because you're actually showing that no one can guard you. You are literally averaging 30 points this season. And you think, hey, so yeah, you deserve MVP over him? I'll be crazy. So 100% guarantee. I feel like Jokic belongs in this conversation. Now, my question to you is, if it's a Lakers and Jokic game in the playoffs, who do you got taking away from that game? Like, who you got running away with those wins?
I definitely would take the Nuggets.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I don't even think that's a question.
I mean, you can say that, but when you talk about the trade deadline D-Lo and how he's been playing, I mean, Austin Reeves, he's been coming to game and hooping. And then you got AD. Now, AD made me mad with the solar eclipse. He got a headache. Cool. But he's still a key prime to their success as well as LeBron. I feel like they're well put together. But Jamal Murray, prone to injuries. Jokic can't do it on his own. Michael Porter Jr., I mean, 1 minute he might shoot 7 threes, only give you 2 of those. But where that should help at? Aaron Gordon, come off the bench. I mean, he's okay. But it's not what the team needs. I mean, without Jokic, if you ever realize, you look at the Jokic stat line, every time he drops 40 points, more than 25 points without a double-double or triple-double, they lose. But when he drops a triple-double and contributing to his team, they win. So what does that tell you? So if he go against the Lakers and, I don't know, he doesn't drop 40 points because his team can't score, they're going to lose because they know who the key scorer is. Now, he still might get a double-double, maybe 40 points, like 16 rebounds. But what is those stat lines to a loss in the playoffs?
Well, the problem is, last year, I was not high on the Nuggets, and they proved me wrong. So I'm kind of lenient to betting against them again because they already proved me wrong before. So it's more or less, do I want to bet against LeBron or do I want to bet against the team that screwed me last year? So I'm kind of just like a little bit hesitant, but just because of what I watched from the Nuggets last year, I don't know. I would take them, and it wouldn't be a debate in my head at least. But I would not be surprised if they lost to the Lakers. I wouldn't be surprised.
Really?
I just wouldn't pick the Lakers personally.
Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. I mean, it can go both ways. But real quick question, little throw off. How do you feel about Bronny declaring for the draft this season? This season coming up.
It's interesting because obviously you heard about like the health issues that were surrounding him. I think, and my take on this is, I don't even know if I
want
can
to hear
say my
it.
take on this.
Just go ahead and be blunt about your take on this.
I honestly, he's not like a highly regarded prospect as far as what I've seen. Like he's not going to be like,
Right.
He shouldn't be a first round pick. But honestly, it's a timing thing for him. It's the uncertainty of, even though LeBron's still in great shape, it's the uncertainty of how much longer LeBron's going to go and the fact that LeBron wants to be on a team with his son before his career is over. So I think he's rushing his own process, Bronny being, to get into the league so that he can play with his dad. So I think he's rushing everything and he's going to get to the league. But if they work it out right, if LeBron gets what he wants, which usually LeBron gets what he wants, there will be a way that these two are on the same team. And if they are on the same team, LeBron can coach him just as much as anybody else could because that's been his guy his whole life, right? I mean, it's his dad. So this is the guy that's taught him the game of basketball. This is the guy that's mentored him and developed his mentality and kept him honest about his, his game in general. So him playing with LeBron could be the answer to fully developing him into a good player because he could be a good player. It's just what I've seen so far from him. He has a ton of work to do and he is not like a can't miss prospect simply because he's not to that level yet. His game is not matured to that point. So I think they're rushing the process to try to find a way to get LeBron and Bronny on a team together. And I'm not mad about it. I mean, it is what it is. But I just think that if he took more time in college to actually develop into the player that he's going to be without the influence of his father and who he is and the namesake, I feel like he'd be better off. But him playing on a team with LeBron is what everybody wants to see. So I'm all for it. It's going to be easier for him to get on a team that LeBron could go to if he's not a highly touted can't-miss prospect. So I think it's a timing thing is all it is. It's just the idea that we don't know how much LeBron has left, and we know that if he's a second-round pick or even I wouldn't think he would go undrafted, but let's just say he's a second-round pick, they can more or less control what destination he goes to, and then LeBron can plan it accordingly because that's the ultimate goal is to get those two on the same team.
Correct. And I agree with everything you're saying. The only thing I'm just scared about for Bronny is that how this hurt his career, right? Because before Bronny got that heart problem, he was okay. He was a decent player. He wasn't playing. He got blocks, he got steals, and then he shot this casual three when he needed to. Now we're talking fast forward. Okay, his first season into college, he didn't do nothing, right? His dad's getting old. It's a lot taller. Hey, LeBron, how much time you got left? I just feel like it's not rushed, like you said, perfect timing, but I feel like in Bronny's eyes, he don't have no timing, right? Your dad's ready out the league, and you don't be like, oh, what if I was just drafted that same year you see he's ready to leave? We could have played one more year together. Now, what you were saying about him and Bronny playing on the same team, I don't see a problem with that because, like I said, if Giannis is on the Bucks and he was able to get his brother that really arguably doesn't know how to play basketball at all and just get him on the team, I don't see why LeBron can't do the same. Like I said, and the one thing you said I love that you said was it's the name thing, right? Your dad is LeBron James, the LeBron James, the greatest of all time, 40K plus points. The first guy and only team that ever come back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals. So it's a lot riding on that, and I get that, but I don't want him to rush into this league thinking that, oh yeah, everybody's doing this and that. I gotta be with my dad to win a ring, and then you summit your career. And once your dad retires, you have to build that up on your own. What I wanted for Bronny is what I wanted for his younger son, Bryce, or what I wanted for LaMelo Ball when he was coming up, where everybody thought was on Lonzo Ball, right? Learn what you can learn. Do what you can do, and then from there, up your game, right? You rushing into the league, I mean, you see what happened. Look at Zion, right? Zion rushed into the league, injury prone. Just injury. And now, I mean, granted, he did play good in the playing game yesterday, but but where you bet the last 3 years. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, I'm excited to see Bronny come to the league. And if he doesn't, I mean, I know LeBron will be happy whichever way he goes, but it's a lot riding on that. I feel like once they make that changeover, it can't go back. You can't be like, oh, I wasn't ready for this, dad. I'm gonna go back to college. No, you're already here. So, and like I said, 82 games with your dad, that can be really big, but it can really make you or break you at the same time. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. Like I said, I mean, Bronny's not the best top player in his draft. We know this, but I mean, with his name, let alone get him far. But I mean, who to say you won't see LeBron, Stephen Curry, and Bronny all on the Golden State Warriors? Because before the trade block went away, the deadline, the Warriors did try to acquire LeBron, and as you look at it right now, it wouldn't be a super team. It just wouldn't. It would just be LeBron, Stephen Curry, and the Warriors. So I mean, it goes both ways. But I just would like to hear your expertise on that because, like I said, LeBron. I know LeBron always thought about before he retires. That's one thing he wanted to do is play with his son. But I feel like now we're at that point. As a viewer watching him, when's this gonna happen? Because you're only aging. But I will say though, one thing about LeBron is that you do see a guy past 35 plus in the league. You see them like creating their own exit strategy. Okay, they're starting to like decline in the games, they stop playing, injuries. Okay, not scoring as much. But this one, LeBron, is surprising me more. This man comes out of a random game and just drops a triple-double, double-double, 7 threes, okay, 10 assists. I mean, he's not declining. So, I mean, no matter what, I feel like every team will keep paying him whatever the hell he wants. Any team he wants. Because if he keeps saying, no way, if you could do better what these rookies are doing, why not pay $70 million for 1 year? Now, why not give you a pay decrease, but give your son a chance to like a regular $500K salary because you already got a Nike endorsement deal? Just give him that, get his feet wet in the NBA league, and then from there, let's see how he be around All-Star Weekend. And then from there, got to make the playoffs or not. Then we could talk about him pretending to be in a starter in a year or two, or him getting that extra training for what you've seen. But yeah, it's a lot. Like I said, I'm hoping that in their family that it works out the way they want it. I hope they prosper from it. All good vibes, positive energy to them. But I just really hope this not hurt Bronny's career or ever in the league after his dad leaves and he's accomplished what he wants to accomplish.
And it's a cliche, but only time will tell. So we'll obviously find out eventually how this is going to all work out. And then whenever it all is said and done, 2020, we will eventually see. I was trying to say hindsight is always 2020. We will see if they made the right call. But overall, I'm just excited to see them potentially on the same team. I think LeBron has earned his right and paid his dues to know what he wants and get what he wants. So I'm not angry at this, decision. So let's shift gears again. Let's move a little bit back to the playoff landscape because that's what's going on right now is the playoffs. And we almost want to kind of like preview what we're expecting to happen. Like I know you mentioned earlier that you were thinking that the Lakers could beat the Nuggets, and I was saying that I think the Nuggets win, but that's still going to be a great series. Let's shift it to a more overall perspective because we both agree that the Thunder are legit, and all of their star players are under 25, so they're going to be good for a long time. But is this the year? The reason why I said the Nuggets as well is because playoff experience means a lot. And yes, LeBron and the Lakers have that too, but it's told the story time and time again. The story keeps being written that if you have playoff experience, if you've been there, if you've done that, it helps. It does not hurt in the postseason. Older players, older teams with that playoff experience, with that playoff pedigree, those are the teams that have an advantage before the series even starts. Between the ears even, they have the advantage before the season even starts because there's nothing that's going to deter them, nothing that's going to intimidate them because they've seen the biggest, the best teams. LeBron has played against super teams before. He's been on super teams before. And obviously, a lot of the players in the league right now that are superstars have not experienced that same era of basketball that occurred like however many years ago that was, where there were just crazy teams that were just stacked to the brim. I'm talking like even as far back to the Celtics teams with Rondo and Pierce and Garnett and, the Lakers teams with Kobe. I mean, that's when I started watching basketball truly. So that's what I reference back to. And then obviously the LeBron Heat teams, the Golden State Warriors, of course. Now we're in an era where it feels more balanced. There's no super teams where I feel like any of these teams could win and I wouldn't be surprised by it. Whereas before it was almost like, is it going to be the Warriors? Is it going to be LeBron and the Cavs? Is it Kyrie and LeBron? Is it, it's not like that anymore. There's so many good players and so many good teams that it makes the league so much more competitive, so much better that you watch a series and you don't know which team's going to win. Like, I'll reference this series. The 4 and 5 matchup in the East, the Cavs and the Magic, I don't think you could make a better match. I think that's an unbelievable matchup as far as picking two teams that are closely matched. They had basically the same regular season record. I think it's a 7-game series no matter how you look at it. And with the Bucks the way that they are, with Giannis being beat up right now, and the Pacers, as much as I like the Pacers and what I've seen from the Pacers, that could go 7. That's a great series. So I'm just trying to come up with like a couple examples of why I think the league is so much more competitive, and I really don't know how to predict what's going to happen anymore. Like, and before I felt like, is it Steph, is it LeBron, who's going to win, but now it's different, and I like that it's different, but it's also so unpredictable. So I'm just anxious to hear, like, do you have like an overall like prediction or like take on how the playoffs are going to go, and like what team do you see actually winning this year?
Like I said earlier in this show, I mean, I love that this might be the best basketball I've probably ever seen. Like you said, that I can agree on 100%. We don't know what's gonna happen, right? This is so balanced. Like, I'm loving the young team. I'm loving the Celtics. I'm loving Jokic. I can even say I like the Lakers. Granted, the Lakers haven't won since 2020, but it's like you said, it's all about that playoff experience, right? Who would have thought that AFC Jimmy Butler would have made it to the finals? Who would have thought? But it's just that killer mentality to get you there. So, I don't have an overall. I can't say I don't have an overall of who's going to win this, because if I do, I guarantee we're going to revisit this video 3 months later. Like, okay, that guy was wrong. That guy was wrong. But I will say, I mean, man, once we get to the semifinals, I'd probably give you a better. Anybody give you a better guess. Yeah. But just as of right now, I just want to enjoy these game 7. Like you said, the Mavs, the Magic, and the Cavs. Great game 7. I want to see Pablo go crazy. We can see Donovan Mitchell can prove me wrong. I mean, we can see it all. And it's just like, I don't know. And I guess I'm excited to see Anthony Edwards. And he's still a young guy too. So it's like, the way I see it is, I can't predict who's going to win. But I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as these games start, my eyes are glued to them. Because, like I said, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Like I said, you can root for one team, the next team might win. Now you're seeing a nice, beautiful matchup. But I would love to see that Lakers and Jokic matchup. I would love to see who wants to take it all the way. Because, like I said, Jokic is a dog in the paint. We know this. Anthony Davis got that dog in him some nights, but we need it every single night. D-Lo, man, that trade decline, D-Lo, he is a problem. But it's all about if you stay consistent enough. Like I said, the Clippers, I'm excited. I want to see if everybody can stay prone to healthiness. I mean, it's so much can happen, and I'm just excited to see and watch it unfold. The only thing I'm kind of sad to say is that in this run, like you said, we used to seeing LeBron or Stephen Curry. Well, Stephen Curry's already out, So now it's like, okay, who's the team that's going to take their spot to even get close to where they could have went? But 100%, like you said, it's all about the playoff experience. If you have no experience, you don't understand how it feels. It's different going to a regular season game and playing in front of like 500, maybe like 10,000 fans. Now you're playing in the play-in or playoffs with 20 to 30,000 fans waiting to see the outcome of this game, to see if their bets are going to hit, to see if their team is going to advance the way they want to advance, or they're going to say, up to y'all next season. It's a lot riding on that. So I'm hoping that maybe the Kings grew out of that from Stephen Curry, or maybe the Celtics maybe grew out of that. Like I said, but yeah, it's so many good teams. I mean, like I said, Embiid, not forgetting him. He, like I said, I think his playing game yesterday, he dropped 23 points and 15 rebounds. Not bad for a comeback game. Granted, from last, 2 weeks ago, he was huffing and puffing down the court. So, I mean, you could definitely tell he's put in work on and off the court. He definitely wants to be here. He's not going to get, now, if they make it to the finals, maybe he might get finals MVP. He already knows he's not getting MVP in the regular season, but I think he's okay with that. He just wants a ring. Because at that point, you already got MVP. What else can you obviously go for in your time in the league besides a ring? So, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, mostly sure. I have no team that I can choose right now to win. I'm excited to watch every single team play. And I just can't wait to touch base with you in a couple months and see, okay, were we both right? Were we both wrong? Or maybe it was a mix of both and we just got, because like I said, it's still early. It's so early.
Well, you said you would make a prediction in the semifinals, so maybe we got to do another episode whenever it's the conference semifinals. Then you could make an official prediction. We can talk about what we saw so far. But do you have anything else that you want to talk about quick before we wrap up on the show today?
Oh, man, I want to say thank you for having me on this podcast. Like I said, I could have talked to you for 3 more hours, man. It's so much about basketball that I feel like we haven't touched on. Yeah. But thank you for having me. Like I said, I feel like we touched on enough bases, and I just can't wait from everything we talked about to see if any of us on the mark and to see where we can go from now. Because like I said, I mean, one thing about basketball and these sports, they happen every year. So you got anything for me before we go?
I don't think so. I think you answered all my questions really well. I was excited to kind of like just get some basketball talk on the show because all my episodes previously, I mean, we talked about football. We talked a little bit of baseball. I'm going to have some hockey coming up, but nobody really talks basketball. So it was kind of nice to have, a little bit of mix going on the show because I'm trying to have every sport on here. We did UFC.
Right.
We're going to do golf, like everything. I just want to talk about everything, a little bit of everything, mix it up, have different people on, keep it interesting. So I really appreciate your perspective. I really do.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, I mean, everybody's perspective is always important here too. But like I said, like talking to your dad or talking to someone that I know, like, hey, are you watching basketball? It's so interesting. I'm not watching that BS. It's like, bro, like this is the best basketball our generation is missing right now. Like, I mean, it fascinates me because like the fact that we're both sitting here talking, both perspectives, we both can say, okay, we got this team winning the finals. This team even making it to the finals. It's just. That's what I'm excited for. So, I love this show. Thank you for having me. You can have me on any time. Give me a time and place, and I'm there. But, 2 to 3 months or even in the semifinals, call me back. We can do this again, run it back. And like I said, for football, we can do football too. Whenever that comes about, because I'm excited for that season as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time on the Remington Kuhn Show.
Thank you so much, man.